Most people never actually get better at color grading. They watch tutorials, copy a few nodes, and have no idea why their footage falls apart on the next project. In this video, we're fixing that. Instead of just theory, we're going to color grade together. Same footage, same nodes, same workflow, step by step. I'll show you exactly how each node works, what each adjustment is doing, and how small changes compound into clean, repeatable results. This is the same process I normally walk through one-on-one with students, and it's usually paid. But today, I'm giving it to you for free. It will only take about 20 minutes, and by the end, you'll have a workflow you can reuse on every single project. Before we start, pause the video, go ahead and download the practice footage, the node trees. Once you've got that open, come back and we'll get started. We've got a piece of log footage, right? So this is Sony S-Log3. So the very first step of grading is converting that S-Log footage into a working color space. In this case, we're going to be working in DaVinci Wide Gamut and DaVinci Intermediate. So if I just go to my CST in and my CST out, I'll just turn those on. So that's the first step. If I have a look at this node here, CST in, you can see that I've taken Sony S-Gamut 3 Cine and then Sony S-Log3, and I've output it to DaVinci Wide Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate. And then we're taking that same signal on the last node here, and we're taking that DaVinci Wide Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate signal, and we're outputting it to Rec 709 Gamma 2.2. It also means that we can standardize across different log profiles. So if you're shooting on like Canon, Sony, Nikon, Red, or ARRI, you can bring that all into DaVinci Wide Gamut and get a consistent workflow across all different types of footage. Next, we've got this node at the end. So this is a film emulation look, and it's Kodak 2383 D60. I've put this at the end because if I open up this compound node here, you can see that I've got another CST here, and then I've got the film look. So why have I done that? Here, you can see this is output to Rec 709 2.2. So basically what I've done inside this node is if I open this CST, I've taken that Rec 709 Gamma 2.2 signal and I've outputted the Cineon film log. The reason I've done that is because the film looks inside DaVinci Resolve, Rec 709 Kodak 2383 D60, is expecting a Cineon film log profile before it works correctly. So then what I've done is I've compounded those two nodes, which basically allows me to adjust the intensity of that film look in the correct way. You can see we're getting a bit more contrast, a bit more saturation, a bit more color separation as well. And the reason I do this is it's a really good starting point. So now what we can do is we can start building upon that film look inside DaVinci. These are the foundations of every single color grade: your exposure, your white balance, and your contrast. If I'm looking at the waveform, looking at the image, and then looking at my exposure node, what do we need to do to get this image into a good starting point? If I look here, I can see that the waveform is quite low. The highlights are compressed and the shadows are slightly lifted. Basically means we've got room to expand out this image in terms of exposure. If I start to bring that up a little bit, you can see we're lifting those highlights, we're getting more detail in the shadows, and it's starting to bring a lot more brightness and clarity into the image. At this point, we're not worrying about contrast or the white balance, we're just getting the image into a good starting point, a place where then we can start our look development, then we can bring in contrast, but we just want to get to a good starting base. So if we look at that, we can see on the scopes on the right hand side that as we lift the gain, we're starting to bring in more brightness, the waveform's lifting up, and more detail into this shot. So that's before, and then that's after. So then what I'll do is I'll head down to white balance here. Now, if I look at this white balance node, I've changed the gamma to linear. And basically what that allows me to do is it allows me to adjust the red, the green, and the blue channel and start to dial in white balance into the image in a way that is very similar to how you set your white balance in the camera. So it gives you a more natural look on your white balance. If I take this image here, what I'll do, I'll just put on my Parade, RGB Parade, I'll turn this dropper on, the qualifier, and then I'll right click and show picker RGB value. So the reason I do that is I'll start to hover the RGB picker over a neutral section of the image and start to get an idea where my neutrals are sitting in terms of white balance. So if I look at these whites here, I can see from this reading that red is higher than the green and the red and green are higher than blue. So it looks like the image is a little bit warm. You can expect this because when you're shooting indoors, you'll get a lot of artificial light, like tungsten light, and artificial light can generally be warmer and more yellow than natural daylight outside. So because this was shot inside, we would expect to see a warmer image on the white balance. So what I can do then, I can start reducing the red, lifting up the blue, just start gently adjusting the RGB channels here. It doesn't have to be perfectly neutral. You can go for a warmer image, you can have a cooler image. It does come down to creativity as well. You just keep an eye on the image, keep an eye on your scopes, and just start gently dialing in the white balance that you're happy with. So I actually do want this image to be a little bit cooler and a bit more blue. So I'm just keeping an eye on the blacks here. And I'm just seeing those change like slightly blue and just soft, subtle adjustments on the white balance. So if I toggle that on and off, you can see that's before and that's after. So we definitely have more blue into those blacks. And then finally, we want to dial in contrast into this shot. So contrast is one of the most important parts of your grade because it'll start to give depth and richness to your image. Because we lifted the exposure at the beginning, now we'll come back and we'll bring in that contrast. If I just toggle that on and off, you can see already how much of a difference and how much life comes into the image just from that one node. We've got more separation between the highlights and the shadows and more texture coming into the image as well. So what have we done here? Well, if I go to my primaries, my color wheels, you can see that I've pulled down the lift. So I'm pulling down that lower end of the signal. And I've also pushed up the gain, which is the highlights. So we've lifted the gain, we've pushed up the top end of the signal, the highlights. You can also use contrast and pivot here. So because we're working inside DaVinci Wide Gamut, the middle gray point is 0.336. That'll just lock down midtones and middle regions. It's more important for if you're working with a lot of skin tones or a lot of mid-tone detail and you just want to really protect that when you're putting in your contrast. And like I said, it really is important that you don't put too much contrast into your scene, but just give it enough where you're starting to bring in life, detail, and getting that nice separations. Okay, so we've got our saturation node here on after the basic corrections. So what I've done here is I've taken the color space of this node and I've changed it to HSV. I like to adjust saturation like this, and the reason I do that is because if I go to the primary color wheels here and go to the gain, because we've changed that to HSV, what we have done is we've changed this red, green and blue channel. The red channel is going to be hue, the green channel is going to be saturation, and the blue channel is going to be value, so your brightness. If I go to this green channel here and I start dialing it down, dialing it up, you can see that we're removing or we're adding saturation based on how we change it. Now, the reason I like to work in HSV is because the saturation is separated from the luminance. So any changes to the saturation here isn't actually affecting the luminance of the image. Again, it's a very soft adjustment, nothing crazy. We're not putting in loads of saturation. We're not oversaturating the image. Pushing colors from one hue to another hue, pushing the saturation down on those hues, and then changing the brightness values of those hues as well. That's where we can really start customizing our look in terms of, our final image. So if I just turn that on, you can see what I've done here. If I look at the yellows on the face of the dog here, before it's a bit more yellow, and you can see if I look at the vector scope, this is signaling the face of the dog, and it's pushing down towards yellow. You can see it's kind of curving a little bit. When I turn on the HSL, that's pushed up towards red. So, and then that's also verified by looking at the image where it looks a bit more yellow. Now it looks a bit more red. Again, subtle adjustment, but it really changes how the image comes across. And I've done that here in the curve. So if you have a look, I've taken this orange part of the image and I've just slightly pushed that up. If I pull that down, you can see it's going more green, more yellow. And then if I push that up, more red, more magenta. So again, you have to be very careful with your adjustment. Just soft, subtle adjustments every time, just to really dial in that very specific look that you're going for. So I kind of want it sitting around there, before and after. And then what I can actually do is if I go into the saturation, I've pulled that down. So that is with more saturation. And then if I go in, I'll just gently bring that down. Again, I just want this to look very natural. I don't want to overdo it with the saturation. Again, I'll just dial that in. So before and after. And that's our saturation. And then if I move on, this is our luminance. So with this one, I'm taking that same color range, that same hue, and I can push it up, make it brighter, or I can pull it down, make it darker. And then what I've done here with the cyans, I've pushed those up. So that's coming from that back bit here. I've just pushed up the brightness of those cyans as well. It's before and after. Before, after. I have to say, this split toning tool it's very handy. It just saves you from going into the curves and having to do split toning yourself with these RGB channels. This one, you can just drag and drop it in. Then you can start tweaking your split toning. So split toning is really for color separation. Your shadows and your highlights. It's about getting contrasting colors into each of those parts of your image to really give you color separation and to really build on your look. Here, I've dragged that in and you can see it's quite strong. So it's pushing in a lot of saturation, especially in the oranges. So I'll just go here to the strength and I'll start pulling that back. So again, I don't want to overdo anything. I just want to keep it natural looking and not too saturated as well. So let's have a look. So if I do before and after, so I'm actually pretty happy with how this image is coming along from a color perspective. Now it's time for more detailed specific work. So getting into the details, getting into things like vignettes, light, shaping light in the image, and then, you know, bringing in some more detail into parts of the image as well. You can see that I've added a vignette to this image. So if I open that up, you can see here, I've got the vignette and I've got the curves. I've pulled down the curves here. So we're getting a nice vignette on the outside. Basically what I'm doing is I'm shaping the light here to take attention away from the outsides and bring your attention here to the center of the image. So if I go before, you can kind of see, you know, we've got some distractions in the back there. When I turn on that vignette, really all of our attention goes to the center of this image now. You can see on the dog's face here, we've got the nose. And if I go to this mid detail node, turn that on, what this node is doing, I've actually put another vignette, but instead of light, I've actually added mid-tone and mid-details. So as you can see here, if I turn that down, it softens it. If I bring it up, you can see we're getting a lot more detail, especially on the texture of the nose and the hair. You can see that coming to life. And I've kept that in the center because that's where I want to keep the attention. I don't want the attention going on the outside. I want the outside to remain soft and out of focus. And then I want the viewer's eye to be drawn towards the center of this image. So let's just toggle those two on and off, and you can see. So before and after. Final thing that I want to do is if we have a look, you've got some light hitting the nose, the top of the nose here. So what I've done, I just want to bring a bit more detail and clarity into that. So I've put another window, another power window here, and I've actually used the HDR panel here because with the HDR, you can really get into fine detail work in terms of if I only want to target a very specific range of shadows or a very specific range of highlights, I can do that with the HDR wheels. So I've brought down the shadows here. I've brought up the lightness. I'll add a little tiny bit more mid detail. I don't really need it actually. Let me see. What I've done for you is I've gone ahead and I've built a node tree library of over 40 power grades, all built out for DaVinci Resolve, so you can easily just drag and drop looks and adjustments onto your nodes. If I go into the film looks here, you can see I've got 6 film looks. I've got Fujifilm and Kodak. Say I want to get a Fujifilm look, I'll just drag and drop that. Now I can start adjusting very quickly. So let's say I want to brighten this image up. I'll just go to my gain, drag that onto the exposure, before and after. If I go to contrast, drag that onto this one. Now we've got more contrast. Now I can go in, quickly adjust contrast on that node there. Up here I've got saturation. So what I can do here is I can just drag that node on, start adjusting the saturation quickly. Then we've got HSL, we can do that in the curves here. Split toning is up here in the effects. And then vignette, I've got a vignette in this power window. So I can just drag that on. So that took about 30 seconds to build out that node tree and then drag in the adjustments. So I've built that all out for you. You can go on a Gumroad and download it, and it'll just really speed up your workflow and make things a lot smoother. It'll make things repeatable as well. So you can do this on all different types of footage. Now, bear in mind, we are working with Sony S-Log3. If you're working on Canon footage, on Nikon footage, you'll just have to change your input color space here. If you're working with iPhone footage, I suggest just changing this to Rec 709 Gamma 2.4, I think iPhone is, and it'll just be the same workflow. So just make sure you change that input color space. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and download those power grids if you feel like it's going to help you with your workflow, and I'll see you in the next video.